Time to talk about neutrophil margination and adhesion, but before that, generally let's recognize the sequence of events with the extravasation of the PMNs. Remember, first we have margination, where the PMNs go towards the wall. Then we have rolling, the tumbling and heaping. Then we have adhesion, then transmigration or diapedesis. So let's talk about it in a little bit more detail. I like the way this was explained in class. It's explained sort of like cars on a freeway slowing down and then taking an exit. But before we look at this in detail, I'm just going to read what it says under the slide and then we'll look at it. So this figure shows a multi-step process of the leukocyte migration through the blood vessels, shown here for the neutrophils, where the leukocytes first roll and then become activated and adhere to the endothelium. They then transmigrate across the endothelium and pierce the basement membrane, and then migrate toward chemoattractants emanating from the source of the injury. So here different molecules play predominant roles in the different steps of the process, such as selectins for rolling. You can think of it that you've been selected to roll. Chemokines, which are usually displayed bound to proteoglycans, inactivating the neutrophils to increase avidity of the integrins. So remember, integrins in firm adhesion, and CD31 or PCAM1 in transmigration, and neutrophils are expressing low levels of L-selectin. They bind to the endothelial cells predominantly via P and E selectins. And ICAM1 intracellular adhesion molecule 1, tissue necrosis factor, tumor necrosis factor. We've discussed this before in immunology, but let's just take a look here. We can see clearly how the leukocytes are moving and they are selected. You have been selected with P's and E selectin. We can see how they've been selected and by these receptors, and they lock on. You can see that they're starting to put on the brakes. They're moving into the slow lane. And as they're moving along and starting to slow down, you can see that integrin is now coming into play, and we have the integrin ligand here, which is ICAM1, and they're going to start slowing it down. And they're getting ready to exit now, but what it allows it to exit the freeway is this PCAM1 or CD31, and so that will allow it to come outside. So they're slowing down, they're binding, and then they're stopping, and then they're coming out. And then they're going to be following these chemokines, and the chemokines are like the lights on the runway, which are showing them where to go. And they'll be moving towards the trouble, and they would then start to engulf the microbes. So in this case, we're looking here at macrophage with microbes inside it. So we have some cytokines here. We have TNF and interleukin-1. Sometimes interleukin-6, I think, is involved. But there you have it, the superhighway of neutrophil margination and adhesion and exiting the freeway.